welcome to Winging It and Winning, a podcast show where you will be motivated and encouraged to follow your dreams. Today we're going to speak about a very sensitive subject, and that is substance abuse. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, in 2017, 19.7 million Americans, adults 12 and older, battled substance use. Addiction runs rampant in my family, and today I am discussing this very topic. My oldest brother and mother both suffered from drug addiction for many, many years. Today we're going to speak to my brother Steven, who has been clean for 18 years now. Today he is going to share his journey with us. He will also offer advice on what parents can do when they suspect that their child is abusing drugs. Okay, everyone, help me in welcoming my brother Steven.
Good morning.
Thank you, brother, for being here today. First of all, before we get into this very important topic, I want to say that I am so proud of you. Growing up with you has been a journey, but I would not take anything back. You taught me so much about resilience, and you're a big, reason why I am who I am today. So I want to say that I'm very, very proud of you, and thank you for sharing your story with me and with many others today. I know that it's not easy, but I couldn't go on recording podcasts without addressing this topic, because really has made me who I am. It played such a big part in my upbringing, and so I want to just acknowledge that.
Okay.
So thank you.
I appreciate it, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So I want to warn you guys, we're emotional as it is, and talking about this subject in particular is going to be a little hard, but this is real. This is what it is, and hard or not, I think that his story needs to be heard. And so let's get into it. So, bro, will you please tell me how your journey with drugs started, and what was your drug of choice, things like that. So let's just start by telling your story.
Okay. So my name is Steven. Excuse me. I started drugs when I was roughly 17 years old, sophomore in high school. I started off with marijuana and crystal meth, doing a little bit before school, during school. It wasn't an everyday thing. Eventually it grew to a full-blown everyday thing, from sniffing lines to smoking, inhaling. After high school, I tried to go every day. I tried to go once a week. Before I knew it, I was addicted, full-blown. Everyday thing. Turned 18. I tried to go back to adult school. Not to be funny, but I always was there before the teachers, waiting for them. My addiction grew more and more, where I needed it every day, every moment of the day. If I wasn't doing it, I was looking for a way to get it. So from then, 18 years old, no more job, no more nothing. I just did what I had to do every day to get my fix. It was arguing, fighting with whoever. It just happened. I had no responsibilities. I had nobody to tell me I was doing wrong, because I tried to hide it the best I could. I did have a girlfriend, which was always there for me when I was on my drugs. She was always the good girl, homebody, nothing like Steven.
And when did you decide that you were ready to get, before we get into that, is how did you start using? Was it your friends? Was it how did that first interaction go with meth, and how did it go from weed to meth?
That's a good question. Weed was never a gateway drug for me.
Mm-hmm.
I always didn't say, oh, I need something to pick me up because I was high on weed. It was just a spare of the moment thing where I had a friend, which is now also sober, thank God. Just said, hey, look, I got this from my brother, let's try it. And that's how it started. One day getting ready for school, we did a little bit, and not to be I liked it. So I didn't stop doing it.
Yeah, I think that when you were 18, I was what? Because we were, how old are you? You're 41? 42? So I'm 37. So you're 18, I was what? 18? I was what, like 14? You know, and I remember you just going through, kind of just being gone all the time, in and out. Like you said, nobody really like paid attention to what you were doing. They were just like, okay, Steven's at his friend's house, or Steven's here and there, because everything, like I said, drug abuse ran deep in my family. So not only is my brother using, but at the same time, my mom, who we lived with at the time, was using. My dad, he was at that time he saw us on the weekends. And so he, although knew what was going on, Steven would just, leave for days and not tell anyone where he was going. And so also we lived with my aunt and all of my cousins and at my grandma's house, and they were also going through their own addiction and their own issues that nobody was really paying attention. I think that I'm thankful for my tia Diane, who lived in that house, because she was a sober one, and she was the one that we all went to, and she was the one that whipped us when we didn't listen, and kind of provided structure for us in the home when mom wasn't able to and dad wasn't able to, because he wasn't there every day. But seeing you, like growing up, I was listening to, at that time I was probably in the DARE program at school, and I knew with the DARE program and with what I saw at home that the educators were not lying. Like I saw firsthand what happens when you use drugs, because although wasn't able to pinpoint what you were doing, I knew that you weren't sober. I knew you were doing something.
Yes.
And then what was going on in the home with our other cousins and uncles, I knew that you were not right. And so I stayed away from drugs because of that very reason. That's why I say, like, your mistakes taught me the biggest lessons. I didn't have to learn from myself, because I had you and other people like mom and my other cousins and uncle to learn from.
Yes, and that's another thing I kind of want to touch on. It's always good to learn from other people's mistakes, because I never thought I would be in the place where some of my family was at. Never thought, always looked down on them, was sad to say. And eventually I was one of them, or one of an addict, period. Not just my cousins. I was just down the same road. You never think that, oh, it's going to be me. I'm going to be homeless, or I'm going to just do whatever I want on drugs. You never think that, and it happens.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, is people who are addicted to drugs think they're not addicted. And so when people tell them, hey, you're addicted, or this is what I'm noticing, they're in denial. And so you have to really consistently, I know for my dad anyways, it was always like, whenever you went missing, after a while, he would start looking for you.
Yes.
And he was always, where's Steven? Even though he wasn't in our home, he was always looking for you during the week, or whatever it had to be when you were AWOL. I call it AWOL, but you know what I mean. You were MIA, and so that's the biggest thing I learned, is that people who have a problem don't see it, because they're wrapped up in their own mess.
Yes, the mess is like I said before. It's either I was high, or I was looking for the next fix, or just doing whatever I want. I could have been, casino, or just taking drives and doing whatever I wanted to do when my family was at home, worried, not knowing if I was in a ditch, or I was in jail, or if I was hurt somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
Now let's go fast forward when we lived with Dad. So I was, when I moved with Dad, I was about 15 or 16. I moved with Dad. And that was also a big milestone, something that impacted me hugely because I was going to be an 8th grader. And I felt like at that point I could have either gone left or right. My mom offered me a lot of freedom. And that was great for a 7th grader to think like I can do whatever I want practically as long as my dad's not getting me this weekend. I can do whatever I want. But my dad at that point decided that he wanted me to live with him, and I was excited because I needed the structure and I knew that it was going to be good for me. And how I knew that in 8th grade, I don't know. I think it was God's will. Like, you know, he literally, I feel like I'm so blessed to be where I'm at, given the circumstances that we've been in. But I moved with Dad, and then you moved with us.
I did move in after the first time I got sober, I believe.
Was it the first time you got sober you moved in with Dad?
After that, because...
But you were staying at the house for a while.
You're right.
Because
you're
a lot
right.
of things, transpired. So Stephen moved with us maybe what? You were with us probably like for a year?
Yeah.
If that?
What people what might know is that along with addiction, you also grow to different people that may become your enemy, or you know, you get into arguments or fights or whatever it is that you want to step back. And then that's why a lot of people who are addicted also get in trouble more than just addiction. Fighting, murder, whatever it is, or get hurt themselves, or really land up in prison for most of their life for something stupid over a drug. So I was grateful that I could take a step back, try to get sober on my own, and just live at peace for a short period of time.
So when you lived with Dad, though, you weren't sober because you were still using. I think that Stephen's addiction never affected me directly. Of course it affected me because he was my brother, but he never stole from me. He never did anything like that until one day I remember he stole my candy for my fundraiser. Do you remember this story?
Yes.
And it was the first time, and I think it was the last time, he stole my fundraiser. I was in Color Guard and I was selling candy or whatever it is, and I went to go get the money and I couldn't find it. And Stephen was sleeping comfortably in the bed in our other room. He was sleeping, and I told my dad, like, Dad, I can't find the money. Here's the envelope, but the money's not in there. And you know, I didn't even think about Stephen stealing it. I just was naive, like, I can't find the money. And my dad was like, oh, este cabrón, excuse my language. And he goes and he like body slams Stephen. Like he's Stephen sleeping on his stomach, and he picks him up from his shirt and his pants, and he picks him up and then he throws him back on the bed, and he's just shaking him. I don't think he was hitting you at that time. Like, he wasn't hitting you, but he was like shaking you, like pushing you, from what I remember. And I was like, no, it's okay. But anyways, that was the first time that I ever remembered you ever stealing from me. And that, I mean, like you said, addiction makes people do crazy things. And I always say it's the addiction making them do it, not them. And I always loved my brother unconditionally. So I think that me having that unconditional love for him and understanding at, again, such a young age, understanding that it was his addiction that caused him to do those things. It wasn't him, and he was not in his right mind. Allowed me to forgive him, and we always moved on. Like, I never held resentment. Towards you for whatever issues or whatever problems you caused, because I understood that I felt like it was the addiction, and I understood that you were the oldest, and so you encountered probably more problems and issues that I didn't encounter or Santiago didn't encounter. So when we grew up together. My parents were married. We lived in Riverside, and before my parents got divorced, there was a lot of DV in the situation. Like, my dad had alcohol issues, and he would, beat my mom when he got drunk. And I'm sure they had their own problems, but alcohol made the problems worse. And when my parents got divorced, I was in 2nd grade. But Stephen was already, in 5th?
I was 14, so...
Stephen was 14, so he lived 14 years in that kind of environment, whereas I only lived up to, 7 or 8. And so I understood that his upbringing experience was a lot different than mine. And so, of course, what we experience as kids and what we internalize has an effect on us. And him being a 14-year-old, going through a divorce and experiencing a lot of things in the home that, maybe he shouldn't have experienced, of course it's going to have an effect on him. And so, everyone has their own story and their own upbringing experience.
To touch on that, there's a lot of people that basically blame a family that hasn't been together, and in this situation, I don't blame it. I can't say, because my parents weren't married, or because of this or because of that. I think it was more of that was what was around me, and then I was just like, hey, let me just try it, and I liked it. I guess it was more a choice of my own, not because my parents weren't married. I can't blame them because I was an addiction. I had an addiction. It was more of a choice in that case.
Yeah.
But because there's a lot of people I know that have gone through it and did do drugs with their parents, and then I know a lot of people that parents are the best, all about going to church, 100% private school, and they still had an addiction. Mm-hmm. They still got addicted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, it's personal choice, but sometimes people aren't as resilient, and they really can't cope, and they find a way to cope is through drugs. And I think that Stephen had kind of a perfect recipe for a disaster. You're going through a divorce with family. You're old enough to understand what's going on. I remember being in second grade or first grade and just walking on eggshells a lot when mom and dad were together.
Yes.
That was only until second grade. Like, I can't imagine how you dealt with it for so many years, And so, even though you say, mom and dad aren't to blame, I'm not, I know that you had your own choice, but, and then when we moved to grandma's house, there was drugs, around and easily accessible, and you had mom wasn't able to cope with her stuff, and you had the freedom that teenagers sometimes don't know how to control or how to handle.
Yeah, free for all, basically. Mm-hmm. We didn't have no one to tell us, come home or don't come home, or, if we were gone, we were gone.
Yeah. Tita Ann tried.
Oh, of course. She's always tried. She still tries till this day.
Yeah. My Tita Ann is my mom's younger sister, and she always was there to provide us the support and the boundaries and discipline. But there's only so much that an aunt can do, right? Like, if your mom is saying, go ahead and go, you're going to be like, okay, my mom said I can go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, that's that. But, okay, so when did you... I remember the first time you got sober is you had been AWOL for a while, and out of, I don't know, was it a week or 2 weeks, you took Dad's white car in his what did he have, a Bronco?
Blazer.
A Blazer? He had a white Blazer, and Steven would pick me up in this car after school often, and we would play Sublime, remember?
Yeah.
And then, anyways, he took the car, and how old were you by this time?
That was roughly 97, 98.
So
20?
20-ish? Okay, so let's just go with 20. You were an adult. You were already an adult. So let's say you were 20, and then Dad picks you up. You take Dad's car, and you're gone. For how long? Like a week?
I think it was a week. The problem with that is my dad's work tools were in the truck. So the first couple of days, hey, mijo, I just want to know when you're coming home. I need you to come home. Second, mijo, third day, it was 2 days that he said that. A few more days, he was like, hey, I need my tools. Okay, yes, mm-hmm. I didn't sell his tools, but he needed his tools for work and so forth. So finally, about the 5th or 6th day, if you don't come home, I'm going to report the truck stolen, and whatever happens, happens. So I decided to come home. Also that day, I thought in my mind that I might stop doing meth. Not, at least for a little bit, just slow down. Another step back, calm down. I did smoke some weed that day, and I came home, no one was home. I got me a nice cup of soda, put on my little fan, laid on the couch, was watching TV, fell asleep, thought everything was gonna be okay. But to my knowledge, or to my surprise, yes, it didn't happen like that. Eventually, my dad and my little sister came home. My sister walked in first, seen me, pretty excited that I was home. Next one to come in was my dad. And he didn't let it go so easily. He kicked my fan. In slow motion, I seen it hit the wall. And I wanted to act like a man. He showed me that I'm going to be a man. I'm not telling anybody to go beat up their kids but a parent can only take so much.
And you were an adult at this time.
Oh,
so
yes.
He was not a kid. He was a grown-blown man.
Yeah, I was a grown adult. He did put hands on me. My sister cried. My dad told my sister to get in the room. Never have I thought my dad would hit me, put hands on me, and I would never hit him. But in all this time, I feel like, not that I made him do it, but I knew the frustration I caused my father. I knew that he had so much built up that eventually it was going to blow up. He did hit me a few times, told me to get all my friends that are giving it to me, bring them all down, and he'll take care of each one of them, beat them up one by one. Told me exactly like that. Bring them all, I don't care who it is. You're my son. I just want you to be better. He knew he was wrong for doing it, but that's what a dad had to do. I did finally get out of the house. I started to run. He asked me not to run. He's not going to chase, don't make him chase me. I just looked back in disbelief, in full of guilt, because I never thought I would push my dad that hard or that much to put hands on me. In my eyes, no one deserves a butt whipping.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
It's okay. You can cuss. This is for adults, so
it's
fine. Yeah.
I didn't feel I deserved the ass whipping, but I also thought, like, maybe my dad feels better. Like, okay, maybe I'm gonna kick his butt and he's gonna straighten up. I ran. I hid for a while. I was laying on some person's porch, and right when I look up, I see my dad driving around looking for me. I laid there for maybe 10, 15 minutes. I looked up and he was there. I finally got away, ran to the nearest payphone. Yeah, payphone.
That ages you just a little bit. I'm just kidding.
I called my friend, which I was also doing drugs with, to come pick me up. I was in Carlos Jr. bushes, I guess you would say, in front of Carlos Jr. on Madison here in Riverside. Well, in Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for him, and I see him with my brother. To a drug addict, everyone's after you, basically.
Paranoia kicks in.
I'm paranoid. So now I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say, hey, I'm right here, because now what if my dad called my brother, and my brother's going to take me back to my dad? In this time I was waiting, I felt a lot of guilt. Like, I can only feel, I know my dad didn't feel the right for doing what he did, but that's how he had to release his stress, and that's what happened. Somehow, I made it all the way from Riverside to my grandmother's house in Moreno Valley. Not sure how.
Which is the house, and it's where Tia Ann, it's where we live, my Tia Ann's house.
That was always the safe haven.
That was a safe haven. I always joke and call it it's like a shelter for divorced families. I mean, we had at one point we had all of my aunts living there, which is 3 sisters living there, right? And each sister had a room. It was a 4-bedroom house, 4-bedroom house. So my grandma, like a queen, had the master, and then each daughter had a room and with their kids.
Yes.
So it's basically the home, people were always there for us. And my tia Ann continues to be there for everyone. It's still a safe haven for whoever needs something.
And she likes to cook, so.
She loves to cook, and she cooks well. She cooks
and
good.
a lot.
She doesn't know how to cook for a small family. But back to this story. So you went back from Riverside. You went back to, you made it back to Grandma's or Tia Ann's.
Yes, I made it to Marina Way, which we call Marina Way, my Aunt Diane's house. And my brother landed up there. Like, he knew I was going to land up there. So he lands up there, he calls my dad and says, yes, he's here. So my dad knew I was safe. So he left it at that. My brother asked me not to leave anywhere, that he's going to take me to the next day to get help. And the next day I went to a place called Knollwood Detox.
So you didn't leave. You listened. You didn't leave at Tia Ann's. You
No,
stayed there.
it's because the day before I felt like
You were already ready.
I wasn't ready. It was like a 50-50. Like, okay, I'm going to get help for a family member. Not more like I want to stop. But I was ready to get some kind of help. If it was for a short period of time or for a long period, I was willing to try. I was 50-50. So the next day I did end up in a place in Riverside called Knollwood Detox, which is, I don't believe, no longer there. I was there for 3 days, got some visits from my brother and from a few of his friends, which were also my friends, that only wanted to see me do better. I'm not sure if I seen my dad, but there they would give you 3 days a week, or 3 times a day, they would give you a little cup of pills. Not sure what they were. So maybe, for the body to detox from the drugs and for you to relax and not have any withdrawals. So I was there for 3 days. And in those 3 days I actually felt pretty good. So, in an addiction, someone that has addiction's mind, you're thinking, hey, I'm good now. So, not that I wanted to leave. So from there, let me see. From there, this is a story I tell a lot of people because it's I believe God sent. From there, I was released, and instead of released to the open, they took me. One of the counselors from there drove me down to Teen Challenge. It is a rehab for adults. Teen, not meaning teenagers, because they take 18 and over. So we went to this facility on Chicago and Riverside. I waited in the car. As a drug addict, I looked around the car to see what I could take. I found, I think, $2 and a little Zippo lighter that I did take. I waited for the guy to come back. He never came back, so I had to use the restroom. I'll go into the office. He's there talking to this guy. I said, I need to use the restroom. And he showed me where it was. So then I went to the restroom. When I came back to go to the truck was gone. So I go into the office and I asked the guy he was there talking to the counselor. He says, I was like, hey, do you know where the guy went? He was like, what guy? And I was like, the guy that brought me. He's like, you walked in by yourself. I haven't talked to nobody since I talked, like, you're the only one I talked to today. And it tripped me out because then he just continued to say, like, what do you need? What do you want? I go, oh, I guess I need help. I just left detox and a counselor brought me, but now he's not here. And he's like, well, I'm sorry, but I can help you, but I can't tell you that anybody brought you or I was talking to anybody. So it always trips me out. Like,
did you ever find out who that guy was that dropped you off?
No, I'm just going to believe it was one of my angels.
Yeah, an angel. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, of course, there I go. Well, we need you to go to LA, Linwood. Do you have a family member that you could call to, send you? Of course, there I run to my dad. So I called my dad. My dad came. And we didn't speak about what happened a few days ago because he knew and I knew that maybe it was meant to be. Everything I believe is meant for a reason. So then they gave me an address or a number to call and said, okay, I want you to go to the bus stop. I want you to get on the bus to Linwood. And when you get there, you call these people. So my dad says, okay, I got him. He asked me what I wanted to eat. Of course, I wanted Delia's Grinders. And then he got my ticket, didn't give me no money. He didn't say, here, go buy your ticket. He got me my ticket. He gave me my ticket. And he just says, Mijo, I love you, and I hope this works. And he went on his way.
That's hard. I think Dad was so desperate because he was trying to work, and Dad before he bought his house for us, he lived with his girlfriend, and he was so proud of his house to have a safe place for us to go to. So I think that when it didn't work out for you there, he was disappointed, and like you said, when he kicked he literally kicked your ass, excuse my language. Now as an adult, I can feel his frustration,
yes.
Because sometimes you just want to shake people. Like, you're amazing. Like, if you only knew your worth, and sometimes it's just a good ass whooping is all you will make you feel better, but it's not the best.
Yes.
Of course, we're not condoning violence.
No.
But Dad was very desperate, and I know what you mean by, like, you guys didn't speak about the incident, because when Dad gets upset, or Dad's one to just move on, like, let's move forward, and he knew that you were already on your way to recovery, so there was no need to talk about what happened a couple days ago.
Yes.
So then I remember seeing you in church. So with Teen Challenge, first of all, I want to say that they're amazing.
Yes.
We owe them a lot, because not only did my brother go through their program, but also my mother. And my mom now is sober also, and thank God Teen Challenge gave me my parent and my brother back.
Yes.
So I remember, so it's a faith-based treatment center.
Yes, it is free. It is a free program. It's all ran by donations. So, and everyone, all staff and everything has gone through the program. Teen Challenge Ministry is helping a lot of people. They have facilities everywhere for families, for women and men with kids. It's a really good facility.
Yeah. And this isn't a commercial for Teen Challenge. I just wanted to shout them out because they deserve it.
Yes, they do.
So how long are you in Teen Challenge, and then when do you get out, and what happens?
Okay, the first time, so I make it to Linwood. The last meal I got from the streets was chili cheese Fritos with chili and cheese on top. Really good. And then I called the number. All I remember is sitting in the bus stop. Teen Challenge van pulls up. Doors open up and 3 guys are in there. It's like if they were kidnapping me. They're like, Steven? And I said, yes. He's like, welcome, brother. And I was like, I didn't think about it. I didn't know. I was just ready to get better. We pull up to this house. Gates open. We pull in. I have a joint in my pocket. So I decided to throw the joint over the wall because I didn't want to go in with it. So then we go in. We go into this facility, they check my bag, which I didn't take very much stuff with me. It was basically just what I had on me. I slept for a day, woke up in the morning to a lot of people, a lot of friendly people, different races, different ages. I ran into a guy named Joao Bense, and he said that I look like his cousin Steven. I was like, well, my name is Steven, real good guy. Him and his cousin were there. Next day we have they have chores. So they're outside cleaning, and they gave me a couple of days to relax and just realize like what I'm doing and where I'm at. Basically detox as well, but I had already been clean from detox for the past 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So then I hear a guy yell, "I found a joint." Yes, well, I didn't know the house next to us, it was also our facility.
Oh my God.
So the guy found a joint that I threw out on the night before, or the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something, you know, and that's kind of cool because, you know, someone that isn't getting help or didn't want the help would have been like, oh, I'm gonna save this for later.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's what in a person with addiction's mind.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Come up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, God.
Yeah.
Working in it.
So after 2 or 3 days, I got into the rhythm of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I only went with my bare minimum clothing. You know, in the facility, you need all your stuff. And people were like, "Oh, I got this, I got that." Joe, I was like, "Hey, I got a lot of everything. So, you know, until you can call your family, I got you with all this." So, it was pretty cool. The program is real good. I was in Linwood for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
When I was, we get transferred. That's basically introduction. Teen Challenge is Christian based, so a lot of people come with different faiths. You know, all that you know is most people that are there really want the help.
Mm-hmm.
So your addiction is no longer as bad as you think because you have someone next to you that is going through it the same, and you can talk about it, how you feel, and that's how people get further instead of just doing it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So then our friend Robert
Mm-hmm.
came in, also addicted to meth, also one of my colleagues or you know, people I would do drugs with.
Yeah.
Came in the last minute. I was about to leave to Riverside Teen Challenge, and I was asked to stay another month to help him out. My choice was to stay and help him out. So he came in, ran through the same thing I did. You know, just another addict that we can help out. I finally got to leave after a month.
Mm-hmm.
So in all this, I did have bad dreams. I had dreams of living the life, money, drugs, gambling, women, and it felt so real. I was sleeping on the top bunk and I woke up crying because what woke me up was something floating black taking a breath into me, and me waking up crying, thinking like it felt so real. Like, I'm not sure if that's so you feel like you can do it now and leave the program, but it's all in the mind of an addict that you're like, cool, like, okay, I got this. I can go get all that money, and I can go get those girls, and I can go get the drugs, all the drugs I want. But it's a choice to not listen to that
Mm-hmm.
and try to get over that makes you a little stronger.
Mm-hmm. Like realizing that you're not okay and that's not going to be reality.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then I finally come to the second part of the program, and by this time I'm pretty clean, gaining a lot of weight, not being able to cut your hair, you know, but I feel better. So that was the first part of the program. The second part is 9 months, basically Bible school. Now you know God, so now your body should be getting back to normal, where you're not craving as much or you're not thinking about it as much, but it's still there. Because addiction doesn't go away overnight. Mm-hmm. It's really hard, and I'll explain that in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think addiction goes away in a lifetime. I think it's a work in progress.
Yes. Okay, so 9 months I'm in Riverside Teen Challenge, Benedict Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Back to detox part.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Linwood, my family, we would do choir outings and drama outings. And, it's all donations to run the program. So no matter where we were, Palmdale, Lancaster, wherever, anywhere in LA, my family was always there. Either my dad and my brother, my dad and my sister and my dad, or whoever, my brother and a couple of his friends, they would always be there. And the other people in the program would like, dude, your family loved you. They come everywhere, and it's sad because I've always had the love from my family to always be there, no matter if I was on the streets running amok or in rehab. People in rehab I've been clean for so long and my family still don't talk to me, but no matter what, my family was always there.
Yeah, I think Dad always taught us unconditional love, and so did Mom. Unconditional love, and I think we just Dad led by example. He never outed you or like pushed you away. So
pushed me, but not pushed me away.
He pushed you physically, but
sorry. Yeah. So people said how lucky I was, and one time my sister and my dad were at a car outing, and of course one of the staff was talking and says, we have a brother here and his name's Steven, and no matter where we go, his family always comes. And I guarantee you right now, as far as we are, there's someone out there. Is Steven's family here? Of course, my sister and my dad were there. They raised their hands and they asked my sister to give a little testimony about how it feels for me, her brother, to be in rehab. And, she cried, I cried. And then I got if you ever hurt your sister again, I'm going to beat you up. Oh, man. A lot of people, other addicts that are in the program were like, dude, you got major love, dude. Your family loves you, and just try to be better.
Yeah. I think when that happened, I felt like a sense of urgency. Like, I have to tell my brother how proud I am of him, and I can't let this opportunity go. And so I think I was just so excited to talk and share like my testimony and what God did for us, not only for him, but addiction is a family disorder. It affects all of us in one way or another. And so, just having my brother in rehab really just took a load off of all of us, knowing that he was safe and he was getting help.
Yeah, something Dad told me was like, I'm not a what do you say? Now that I know you're in rehab, I'm not stuck at home worried about you. I'm not, I can go out and not think about like, hey, my son, or if I'm gonna run into my son, or whatever. He was pretty much free. So it's not only the addict, it's also what comes along, the family around them mainly, that are always like worried about it. So
for sure.
So moving on, yes, I went to Riverside. We did chores, Bible school, and it got easier. I was close to home, 15 minutes away from my dad's house, 15 minutes away from my aunt's house. Family was near me. Every weekend, somebody came to church, got to eat with us, got to eat with me, bring us real food, not donated food, but... So my journey, I graduated in 98. No, I went in 98. I graduated in 99. Yeah, I did well for a little bit.
Yeah.
I worked for school district. From there I went to Bank of America. I had a pretty good job. And late 2001, and this goes to show that an addict isn't really sober until you get you move above or go over a lot of hurdles. 2001, early 2002, I thought I was good, and I relapsed. Then it was like before. I didn't have the urge, but I thought, hey, maybe just one time will be good. And yeah, it was good to mess up my life all over again. So
when you relapsed, how long were you addicted, or how long was the relapse before you got help again?
I believe my relapse was 7 to 8 months.
When you relapsed, did you hit harder than the first time?
Oh, yes. I did lose my job at Bank of America. I did lose all my credit cards. I did lose my car. It hit harder in a short period of time. I'm not going to say I lost any of my family because they were there to help me out. Help me out before I got worse than I was. So the first time. Yeah. So I found out I was having a son. To explain how I got clean again. I would have to get hunted down to go to the doctor visits. You know, I was always on just whatever I wanted to do. I would go to some visits, and a couple months before Brandon was born, our oldest, which is 18 now, I had the ultimatum.
Yeah, ultimatum. She gave you an ultimatum.
Yes. I remember my mother-in-law and being there and just telling me like, either you get help or you don't see your son. And in my eyes, I was like, that's my son. I'm always going to see him. But then I thought about it. It's like, not if you're in jail, dead, or on drugs. The next day, I went back to rehab. So, Teen Challenge was since I was a graduate, they have a program to reinstate for 3 months and try to help you out in those 3 months, and you can choose to stay longer if you want, or So yeah, I went back into rehab. This time it was sunny San Diego.
So you went into rehab for 3 months. It was an expedited program for people who relapsed.
It's supposed to be 3 months, but I did leave in 2.
You left in 2.
Yes.
And then since when you got home, you've been clean. You haven't relapsed since.
No, I haven't.
So that 2 months did you good.
Yes.
Okay.
I took a 21-hour drive from Century City on the Greyhound bus. Got picked up by my dad again at the Greyhound station, and went straight to a family barbecue at my Tia Lourdes's house.
Oh, at Tia Lourdes's?
Yes.
Well, I know that when you left early, we were kind of scared. Like, it's too soon, or should he just stay the 3? I know that we were kind of nervous because it wasn't the whole 3 months. But nevertheless, like you said, Dad was still there. Like, hey, that's your choice, right? He always gave us the choice. Like, that's your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
No. When I went back to rehab, it was to get clean because I already knew. I already knew the consequences, which not see our son, and that's the biggest one, But once again, I had all the love, from Veronica, from June, which is my mother-in-law, which is everybody was always there. Mom was clean now, I knew I was wrong, Dad always was there. Everybody was always there. You, my brother, but I did. My brother's always been there. We call my brother the big brother because he looks older than me and he acts older than me.
Well, I think that it's just he's the one we go to, like, for help, like, hey, help. And because you're dealing with your addiction, he was the one that was there to help us.
Yes, and I agree. Yeah. So, and then he would always go look for me at houses and, not knowing what he's going to walk into, you know, but no matter what, he was looking for me. He's never, you know, he talks crap or shit, but it's not in the wrong. He always just, you know, like I said, I felt like the little brother. I was never the one to have to worry about my little brother and my sister. So.
So congratulations on 18 years.
Thank you.
I mean, I think that hardship that we encountered just made our bond a lot stronger, and it makes me appreciate my brothers more. Especially, it makes me appreciate the time we're together and you're sober and you're not high. You're present, you know, good or bad, or, you know, like Steven's the funniest one you'll ever meet. Everyone knows Steven's hilarious. And I'm just so grateful to be able to experience that from you, you know, like experience you at your fullest, at your realest, and you're not high, we're not worried about you. And it's just it's like a gift that you're giving me.
Well, it's not a gift just for you, it's for everybody. Maybe something here helps someone out there, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's why I wanted to like share our story, because when people say like, well, I think that the reason why I wanted to start this podcast, Winging It and Winning, is because I feel like I should be a statistic based off our upbringing, you know, and I didn't. And this is why I didn't. I chose this way, or I chose to do this instead of that. And I want to show people that no matter how bad you've messed up or what you've experienced in your life, like you can always make a comeback. It's never too late to follow your dreams. It's never too late to create the life you want to live.
Yes.
And so what advice, bro, would you give a mom or a dad who are going through what dad and mom went through?
Never give up. If you see your child going down the wrong road, you don't have to give them money. You don't have to give them everything they want, but basically be there for them, because be the love and support that they're going to need, and they really do need. Be there for them to help them when they're ready, because a lot of addicts, and I've learned from people that I've done drugs with, their story behind before they were a drug addict. We all have a story. We all have a hobby. We all have, like, I messed up, and guilt. You know, a lot of people, which I didn't explain earlier, one of the times that I did get clean, wanted to get clean, is for the reason. And a lot of people think about it, and it's hard to say, is suicide. Mm-hmm. As a meth addict, it really takes a toll on your brain, on your body. There's a lot of times I wanted to get clean, but the drug wouldn't allow me to. It's like, no, you're going to do drugs today. So for the parents, just whatever you can do to help them, even if it's just a little bit, it goes a long way.
By help, you mean like emotionally, like letting them know they are loved unconditionally, letting them know that when they're ready, you'll be there to help them.
Yes, never give up, because there's a lot of people that I've met that are getting clean that don't have their family, and they just, whatever it was before, whatever they did, I understand it hurts. You know, people hurt their families, but in the long run, the love that you have for your child, or your mother that is addicted, or your father, or whoever it is that's addicted, just show them the most love you can, and just be there for them, because they're going to eventually ask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if I think for me, it's like, I'm glad that we never, I never used anything that you've done to our family or to me, or what, like, not that you've done anything big, but still the money. Like, that's the only thing I can really imagine you, like, think of that you've done to me. But the love has always been there. And I always, like I said, I didn't take anything personal. I wasn't like, he's doing this against us or against my dad. I knew that it was an addiction and an illness that he was suffering, and that he needed to get away and get help. And so I'm glad that we never had a falling out, because of the unconditional love that we have. And now we're able to experience and share these stories together. It's healing for me. you know. And it's also like, I love hearing your story, because I think that we don't talk about it on a daily.
No,
you know, it's
we don't.
nothing that we talk about, but it's something that we do celebrate when you're 18, you know, your big milestones, like his 10-year anniversary, and his, you know, 20 years going to be coming up in two years. So who knows what we're going to do, but we try to celebrate those big milestones because it's a reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tell my son every year, you know, he's a big part of the reason why I got sober this last time. He never understood until I think he was 16 or 15. I asked him, you know, do you know why you helped save my life? You know, why you're my angel? And he's like, I always wondered, and I told him. So now he knows, you know, on his birthday, like, you're a main reason why, along with all the people who love me that have been there.
Yeah. But like you said, you contemplated suicide, and that is so real. Like, that is, you're not going to be the first nor the last to have experienced that. That's especially when you're on drugs, right? Because it makes things worse.
Yes. Okay. So that is that's really hard to, you know, to talk about, because, and nobody will talk about it, because then you're going to have people telling, you know, you're stupid or whatever. But in all actuality, it's an illness. I haven't thought about it more than once, and it's because I really wanted to get clean and I couldn't. Like, I felt like there was no turning back, there was no getting clean, there was nothing. So, but what comes with suicide is hurt from all the people who are pushing you to get better, and hoping to God, you know, praying for you and showing you all the love to get better. It hurts them more. So, yeah.
I'm glad you thought about us in that time, because, you know, can imagine you wouldn't have lived to see you know, how great you can be and how much you can accomplish. You know,
I'm trying.
Yeah, it's a like I said, it's a work in progress. But today we're celebrating your sobriety, and that's a huge accomplishment to anyone who's out there and trying to get sober.
Yes.
What would you tell somebody who's in the contemplating stages of getting help, or think like you, it's too late, I'm too far deep, I can't get help? What would you tell them?
Just go for it. It doesn't hurt to try. If you have any knowledge or any thoughts going through your head that you want to get clean, talk to somebody that is. Go to a meeting, just walk in there, just listen to the people's story. There's a lot of places out there that help out. And, you know, mine was Teen Challenge, and there's Victory Outreach. There's other ones. There's help almost anywhere you ask. If you have drugs and you want help, just tell a cop, hey, I got drugs. Maybe you'll go to jail, and there's rehab right there to start it off.
No, that's real advice.
You could take that out.
No, we'll keep that, because, I mean, it's like taking the plunge, right? Like, just which way, shape, or form you can get help. If you don't want to walk into a treatment center, or if it's too hard to even look for treatment centers. I mean, as a social worker, I look for resources all the time for patients and for people, and it's just like, it's really time consuming, and you have to make a lot of phone calls and have to make sure certain insurances are accepted, or how can the family pay. It's a lot of work. So I think that sometimes, like you said, just turning yourself in, hey, I have this stuff on me, you know, it's kind of a cry for help, but it's not, like I said, there's no right or wrong way to get help. No. And, you know.
And to the families, like, a lot of rehabs are expensive, and Teen Challenge is free.
Yeah,
that's a good thing, you know. It helps a lot of people, because a lot of people can't afford some prices or some. I mean, there's work calls and ways
expensive.
To make it.
Yeah,
so there's always help. You know, someone's willing to. Hopefully, it's a family member, or hopefully, you guys are blessed. Like I have been blessed with loved ones behind me, 100%, even more than that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we're all cuckoo, but for sure there's love in our family.
Yes, right? Cuckoos, yes.
Oh, man. Well, today we talked to my brother, Steven, who's been 18 years sober, and I just couldn't be a happier, more proud sister to have him here next to me sharing his story on my podcast. And just remember, you guys, that help is out there, and it's, you know, it's up to you to want to take the first step and make it happen. Remember that winging it and winning is a mindset, and only you have the power to create your best life.